You all may have noticed reading was considerably longer than I ever read. You'll never see that again the rest of the year. Story, and it's a very familiar one, so the deeper meanings can sometimes go by us. First of all, to make things like in this right spot. Got to make things clear here. This is a story about the prodigal son. Is that correct? Let it be known there are also prodigal daughters. Are we clear about that? Nobody gets off here. All right, but for this practice for today, we'll talk about the prodigal son, but I wanted that to be clear. Now, as we see this unfold, it explains to us a manner in which God cares for us and forgives us. But notice a couple things here. One is the son is saying that he's sorry for his behavior in a very clear way. Now, the father didn't see that at first. He doesn't know that when he first sees the son. But notice that the father goes to the son even before he hears the confession. This should hearten us because that's the way God still works with us. Even before we come there, God is always looking for us with open arms and welcoming us. Important to understand this process. As this happens, the boy explains what happened, and you can see that there is a sincere sorry for his sins. It is sincere. And that's one of the most important things as we make mistakes, is that when we apologize, that our contrition is sincere. And how do we know it's sincere? By the behavior that follows up the act of contrition. And that is behavior that has changed. Because the son could have come back, had this party with his father, and then after a few days, he got wanderlust again and took off. Important that the contrition is sincere. Because with that sincere contrition comes the healing that is necessary to do and repair what went wrong when we got off the trail. Is that clear to you? This is important. The contrition helps us to access the help that we need to repair what was not good. As I already mentioned, there's also the fact that people relapse. Two important persons in my life, the priest who baptized me, brought me into the church, preached at my first Mass, and my close personal friend, both of whom had difficulty with alcohol, and both of them were never able to beat it. This was difficult. What does that mean? That more than once, each of them went into treatment, tried to beat it, but could not. In one case, the experience was the brain was damaged. He was no longer capable of recovery. He couldn't respond to the discipline that was necessary. For the other one, a heart attack intervened, and he died at a very young age, only 53. Now, during that period of time, the person who's involved with a loved one like that noticed that the son here, the son who has stayed with the father, it says he was angry. Each of us have experienced that with a loved one that we have, that anger occurs. All of it is normal. But when we look at this reading is telling us something special about that. That the anger is normal, but we can't stay there. That we're return to our God, who will help us deal with the situation that is in front of us. And that's why accessing this particular experience of the prodigal son, we access the deeper meaning here. And that is that sometimes when forgiveness takes place, it's a matter of stages and over a period of time. Sometimes it is not something that we can just put into the background. It lingers there, and we have to know that. But again, we come back to the fact that Jesus is always reaching out to those who are struggling and helpful. It's not that the two men did not reach out to God. They did. But there were aspects in their life that didn't allow them to accept the discipline, to go on and then finally be fully healed. This will happen in our life. We don't understand this mystery completely. But what we must understand, no matter where that person is, Jesus continues to reach out for him. There are no lost causes. That's the bottom line of this reason. Excuse me, of this story. There's no such thing as a lost cause. We may not understand the mystery that surrounds it, but God does not forget anybody. Are we clear about that? Because sometimes when we're faced with these situations in our lives, we tend to want to give up on it. No, never give up on the fact that this God reaches out. And in the silence and in the darkness, he continues to do his work, even though we can't see it. That's when we must say, I trust in you, my God. Now, why do I say this, and what is this based on? A story that will come up in just a couple weeks has to do with how Jesus finds the disciples after he dies on the cross. You remember the story. Where does he find them? In the upper room, and they got the doors locked, and they're afraid. They're afraid. Is that going to happen to me? And they could see, because they had seen crucifixion before, they knew how cruel and painful it was. What does Jesus do when he sees them? Men who have denied Jesus, who made this horrible mistake, he says, peace be with you. And without losing a step, he goes on, he forgives these men and sets them forth on a journey where they're going to be able to share this faith. And believe me, when they went out to share their faith, people saw in their face a sincerity and a contrition that they only wished they could have. And the apostles then would assure them, you can have that assurance. And that love with which God, this Jesus, touched us, will also touch you. Imagine the horrible things they did. And Jesus' first word is not, you are a worthless group of thugs. He didn't say that. Or he didn't say, I made a mistake when I chose you guys. You guys would screw up a 1-quart milk route. He didn't say any of those things. He said, peace be with you. Always reaching out to lift up, not to push down. And so our deeper example is when we are involved in the correction of another, it is not about our feelings. We have to deal with them. But it's about our ability to be like Jesus and to lift up, not hammer on the person who has made a mistake, not to continue to flaunt it and throw it in their face, but help them get up so that they're able to respond to life and make better decisions. That's what we're after. This, my friends, is not easy, but when we understand that God has gifted us to do that, especially through our confirmation, that we stand for that which Jesus stands for. And he stands for peace be with you, not comments that will degrade, push the first person further down, alienate that person from the community. Not at all. Bring that person back. Let them become part of the community and let them grow again. This is part of our life. This is what we're committed to. And all of us have a part in this. We have the ability to say as Jesus does, my brother, my sister, my son, peace be with you. I am here to help you get up and to make better choices, to move to a new and better life. That's the healing that is needed. Peace be with you.